Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Go Mode podcast, Overworld Glitches Mentor Tournament of 2020. We have an exciting match for you. We have our first round Swiss match of MM2 NES cartridge against Krithel. And my name is Professor Render, and joining me in the booth is otherTom. How are you doing today?
Hi, Render. I'm doing good. What are you?
That's great to hear. So, over the time, I'm going to ask you this really quick question. What exactly is Overworld Glitches for those who aren't familiar with it?
Sure. Overworld Glitches is a logic move where you're allowed to do certain glitches that are not allowed in glitches. Mostly things that involve flipping through walls, a couple transition glitches that you might see later. Just things.
I've played around with some Overworld Glitches before, and at least in the couple of times, these past couple of weeks, and it's definitely quite a breath of fresh air for those who have been playing no glitches for quite a while now.
Yeah, it really opens up very quickly because things require fewer items, so you get to see a lot of checks early and a lot of.
And it's also interesting too, from a no glitches standpoint, where a lot of the minor glitches that are familiar, that are well accustomed to within no glitches, such as the fake flippers and smarter walk, are actually in logic instead of in overall glitches, as opposed to being out of logic in no glitches.
Yeah, that really makes a lot of you available with very few others.
It looks like we're underway. I can't really see what's going on over here.
Looks like we got a Sync start from 92 and Link's House start from Krithel.
Yeah, looking like they're wanting to do the opener by checking out the Lake Hylia Island, and then possibly heading over to Sahasrara, which is what looks like what one of them is doing. Can't tell which one is who.
Yeah, it's easy to get that item with a simple clip, so it's a good thing to check this game, and then once you're out, right into Sahasrara. Get these 3 checks up there.
Get some gloves to start off in Sahasrara's hut.
Yeah, gloves are an interesting item in Overworld Glitches. They don't actually lock that many things. Or finishing Ice Palace and checking a couple places in Checkerboard Cave, they aren't really as necessary.
Looking over to the lumberjack village, crippled, going to head over to the back of escape. The lumberjack ledge is only having 3 bombs.
Yeah, finding those gloves in Sahasrara's hut gives them a really nice. Unfortunately, it looks like not for long.
And not a lot too. We did get a single arrow, but that's nothing really of note here. So we're going to now look at the bunk rocks over on MM2 NES cartridges side. Just some sticks. Okay, it looks like MM2 NES cartridge is looking to do something that that you can't really do in Overworld and no glitches. Tell me exactly what MM2 is trying to do here.
Sure, MM2 is doing something called a DMA, a Death Mountain Ascent, which is a glitch that get you up Death Mountain by wrapping the screen and kind of jumping down from the top cliffs above the old man cave.
Yes, from what I've heard, there's actually a lot of different DMA setups that you can do. The more popular one being you have to using a spin speed to get yourself over to where the where normally you would pick up the glove and you pick it up with the gloves.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it. The way that MM2 did it is a fairly recent discovery that people picked up very quickly because it's very convenient.
And it's a lot faster too, from what I've seen. And looks like MM2 had taken a death, but luckily he'll have the checkpoints after picking up the old man.
Yeah, this is a situation that can be kind of scary for newer players with dark rooms because you'll actually start in the dark room. Get out. You're going back there. Meanwhile, we've got Krithel doing the fairly common Lost Woods opening. Probably head down into Cat. Since we start with boots, you can get pretty bomb out of Swamp Rocks very easily, which is nice.
M2 getting bodied by the dead rocks here again. Happened to go back to that one checkpoints.
These are some really mean dead rocks.
Get some blue mail out of Blind's hut, which is always nice to have.
Yeah, it's nice to see two completely different open worlds here. You get to see the connections on one side, definitely on the other, and they evolve it.
And MM2's diligence pays off here, and as we got a bow from off the old man.
Yeah, that's a really exciting item to get early. Obviously, gives you a bunch of firepower fighting enemies and also access to these combos.
So it looks like MM2 actually managed to get into Graveyard Ledge. Could you tell me how he managed to do that?
Sure, so by the map of the Overworld, Graveyard Ledge is right below that mountain, and via a very careful spin speed, you're able to hit that screen transition from the Death Mountain side, and it puts you right on top of the rock Graveyard Ledge. You can just jump off and check the item there. We're also seeing MM2 continue into a hula hand, which happens because the camera is offset when you transition from Death Mountain like that. So falling into a pit, it's hula hand.
And a nice free 225 rupees at the start of the game.
Yeah, it's also a really nice route because it puts you back in source. MM2's sanctuaries. This is effectively skipping the saving points.
So it looks like MM2 is going to head over to the Sashrella, and I couldn't catch what that was. It looks like something MM2 is actually curious about.
I think it was a red rupee, but it'd be interesting to see what the plans are.
So it looks like he also did a teleport over to teleported over to this spot here. Normally you need the flippers for this, but
Yeah, you can set up big flippers using the ledge with the screen transition, which is a quick way to check.
Oh, hello, there's a mirror.
Yeah, Krithel getting the mirror around the desert ledge. We weren't even paying attention. Also,
and it looks like
teleport down from race game to desert, just needing the book and.
So in a way, it's kind of similar to how with the clip over to like the transition over to from Graveyard Ledge or from Death Mountain over to Graveyard Ledge, in a way.
Yeah, you're teleporting up onto a cliff using the screen transition. It's there since the desert tile. We'll probably see something similar to that too after later.
One thing I've also noticed too, right out of the gate too, is that we also have some boots right out of the gates. Is this related to the whole spin speeds clips you were talking about?
It's related to spin speed clips and boots clips in general. We've always played Overworld Glitches with boot start just because it's clips is integral to making the game interesting. Otherwise, you'd have way too much variation in races based on components first.
Interesting. Okay, makes a lot of sense too. I mean, yeah, the boots is always a nice item to have at in any time you play a randomizer, and having to spawn on your feet is kind of like with the open boots presets from Sastrala bots.
Yeah, it used to be a poor way of recruiting people to the Glitches cause, but now everything works. It's so special. We're seeing Krithel make some clips up to 845, which normally mirror and dark access to get to. But via a couple spin speed clips, it's right in the desert overworld effectively.
I also saw a Master Sword in Red Mail picking up from MM2.
Yeah, it looks like both of our racers have Master Sword. Must have been it. There's another check that is trivial in Overworld Glitches and something complicated in Enumerated Glitches, which is checkerboard. As soon as we have the gloves, we can boots flip up to that ledge and lift over. There's no way to get in without lifting.
It's so nicely condensed in that one spot too, from the looks of things, because you could from Cave 45, you can go over to, you could actually look like you can go over to Checkerboard Cave and also head over to Aegina's Cave as well.
Yeah, it makes a nice little run around the desert. And if you want to do boss in the desert, you can also clip back up the ledge and jump off your right side of the desert area. See MM2 doing the flip the desert again.
There's the mirror for MM2.
Yep, and Krithel is doing self-start, which is all new checks to us. Get it over 100% over here. So far, nothing terribly exciting. The self-start checks don't change too much with Overworld Glitches, but they're just generally good densities, so you usually see them done pretty early. The only exception is if you find, say, a Pearl and Mirror very early, where you might try to route in some of these self-short checks, but Swamp Area, it's dark pool access is so easy to get in the world, which is.
Alright, we're going to look at Mini Moldorm Cave now. A couple of rupees, more rupees. Powder, but which is interesting.
Yeah, Powder's a check that changes a little bit. We have a way to glitch this mirror requirement. So, Magic Bats and Logic right now. It's exciting.
Yeah, which coming from a no glitches background, normally you'd be waiting for a hammer for that.
Yeah, there's an additional little bit of nuance too, which is that runners might want to check that soon because the flip is actually more tricky than flippers because you're flipping near the body of water, and if you screw up the clip, you can end up swimming into the water and being stuck, not being able to get out. But if you don't have the flippers, you just splash right out and continue doing the clip as normal.
Interesting. All right, so it looks like Krithel is going to head over to, looks like wanting to do that DMA you were referring to from earlier.
Yeah, we see Krithel doing the exact same DMA, spin speed hops. Unfortunately, they got a slight wrong jump there and ended up in the kind of area above, not clipped in. I'm gonna see if they can fix that. And looks like they can. That's cool. That's a recovery technique where you can spin speed into the ledge right above and do a little up-down movement. You just into the same spot where you would have gone if you're correctly in the first place.
Oh, that's interesting. That seems like a little nice recovery method in case you happen to screw up this DMA setup.
Yeah, doing it the first thing is very precise, so it's not easy. People need to use that recovery. See Krithel doing a map right up to Tower of Hera from the Tower of Hera is effectively Overworld in Overworld Glitches. It's very easy to get to, and you'll see runners going to Tower of Hera fairly often because it's a way to get further spot zoning in correctly.
Yeah, that's interesting because you normally, if you looked at a map of A Link to the Past, normally you'd think, oh, if I did it this way, I would probably be ending up in somewhere in the Graveyard Ledge area, but apparently that's not the case.
Yeah, a lot of these clips that involve wrapping the map actually jump past the transition as opposed to jumping into it, like say. So if you jump past the transition, then you just kind of wrap the map and can do things like go into her up from the bottom of it.
Nice bomb jump from Krithel.
Getting those items. I don't think we've seen a map check either characters, but with the choice between doing Moldorm or the basement, Moldorm's a pretty reasonable choice.
I believe I saw a map check, but I didn't see but I don't believe I saw what it was. It's a pretty quick Moldorm kill for Krithel. That should be first blood. Yeah, and definitely it is.
There is a nice dungeon to have finish. It's very accessible in Overworld Glitches, particularly with Sword and Third. I guess we're going to see where Krithel goes from here. Most of Death Mountain is open right now. These two checks on Spectral Rock are the closest, but I expect we'll also see a check. Trip over to the right side. Yep, here we go. So this is kind of a weird teleport where you teleport inside of the collision and do a couple of kind of tricky movements to move yourself towards the screen transition. But once you get there, you're able to take advantage of that land bridge that developers can be left with, and that gets you all the way over to the east side of that mountain.
Yeah, I also noticed that there's actually a sign. That's just placed there. What's the point? What's the deal of that?
So if you're in a non-Overworld Glitches seed, it asks how did you get here? If you're in an Overworld Glitches seed, it shows you the winners of this tournament. Was a year or two ago, I think.
I think so. I think I've never seen musings about the Overworld Glitches tournament.
Yeah, that was a little before I got into Overworld Glitches, but I learned from some of the matches because skill was playing. So we see mm2NES cartridge eyeing up that bottle on the Zora ledge, and I think we're going to see a clip together.
Huh, this is a little interesting. Normally, obviously you need the flippers for that. There's a bottle over here too. So this will be a lot more quicker to get the check in. Oh, I see. Okay, I see how this goes. So if you clip on top of this this little bit of terrain, and you can edge your way around and just pick it up from there. Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of strange in that you splash the first time, but you don't splash the second time. For sure, it's a weird feature. Looks like we're seeing Krithel do a DMD to Zora, about through the ledge there with a simple spin speed flip and transition. You get kind of Zora's spin.
It definitely looks the Towser definitely looks a little weird.
Yeah, the game gets a little confused when you come down from Death Mountain into Water Drop. You can get some amazing. This one will be messed up for as long as don't go inside a cave. I think Krithel is going to do waterfall very unfortunately.
A splash slate from Krithel.
Yeah, even though the overworld glitches involve clipping and get a lot of publicity, a lot of these minor glitches do a lot of work. Glitches do.
Cool. Looks like this is going to be a lead-in for. It looks like Krithel might be just looking to get some quick money. Hopefully.
Yeah, they're 2 rupees short for a Zora check. It's not a great position to be in. Possibly open to get that from the mushroom turn in. Usually you get rupees from that. It's good expectation.
Hey, it looks like we're gonna get a mushroom turn in. I had to step away for a second. Just 20 rupees.
Yeah, that gets the money for Zora, which room for.
So I wonder what Krithel is doing with this particular teleport.
Yeah, Krithel is doing a teleport to get up to the ledge there up above Eastern Palace, and you could use that to get into Eastern Palace itself.
Yeah, looking at a map of the light world, it definitely makes sense because it happens to be right nearby.
Yep, you can actually do clips either way between these 2 screens. The clip up from Eastern Palace to the Zora area is a little trickier, but they can both be very useful for this area. There's a lot of there's a lot of places like this where the areas are relatively far. Pretty quick, you can flip through a couple of cliffs.
Okay, so now we're in Eastern, coming after the mushroom turn in, which is pretty cool. Like I've tried practicing these kind of boot slides before. Getting the grips for these is getting various grips for the grips for on the controller is kind of weird.
Yeah, a lot of Overworld glitches is having the right grip to make inputs easy. And do a lot of controller grip switching to try to get in a good position for flipping. Sometimes you're dashing to somewhere. Setting up some other things.
Looks like MM2 is going to head over to that land bridge that we were talking about before.
Yeah, their MM2 is going past the sign. Looks like the boomerang up on the floating island. We could get that, but either of our runners.
So normally, in this situation, I'd be asking, going that maybe we're looking for either a bits or a moon pearl for go mode, but from what I've seen, playing Overworld Glitches, also playing Overworld Glitches and watching it, apparently that's not the case.
Yeah, the moon pearl's pretty important, but the mitts are most cases. The only thing that they really do is give you easier dark boxes. rooms, and getting into Ice Palace is not necessarily something anyone makes easier. See Krithel doing the dark rooms in Eastern Palace inside there. Saw a shield for an item earlier. I don't think it's gotten anything important out of it.
Oh, hello, this tempered.
Yeah, this is a pretty generous seed. So got Master Sword very early, tempered in.
And we also saw some red mail really early on too, because we saw both players heading over to the CAC wheel.
Yeah, it's less than 25 minutes, and your players have red mail, 11 hearts, and 2 or 3 swords. It's pretty incredible here.
Yeah, we're definitely got a very offense heavy and also very healthy seed for this early game.
It's the mm2NES cartridge setting up what's called the Witch GMP, which is a little kind of strange clip where you spin speed and tap to get a very specific jump over to the transition so that you get a clue to the witch.
And I also noticed too is that MM2 also seemed to be floating over the water as if it was like a ghost or something. What's up with that?
Yeah, that's something called the funny OWG, which is one of the best names in glitches. If you land precisely on a transition in a very particular way, the game will actually force you to walk about a screen length after you transition with no collision, anything like that.
Interesting. It seems like a fun, rightfully of its name, or it's just like it looks kind of silly when you transition like from one part and then just goes, oh hello, I'm going over the water.
Yeah, we didn't see it in this particular seed, but that's also how you get the layout. Flippers, just do funny the cliffs where one of our rangers did. You see Krithel doing like this area too. This is a little less common, but it's a nice little short clip to get back to those east. It's a little up teleport to the screen transition, and then you'll see them do a little camera correction.
Also, while we were talking about it too, looked like Krithel also finished up the Armos Knights. I want to talk about the funny OWG thing.
Yeah, I got a red rupee out of that. You see the camera's kind of screwed up here. You really want to be careful about not touching that out there. There's a screen transition in the middle of the screen because that's how you are locked. The Krithel knows exactly how to fix it. Just move the transition until it's in the spot, and then it's safe.
And that kind of helps. That helps getting from a point from that eastern area back to where we were originally. Gain some potions for that.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice. Krithel really wanted that potion to do that Krithel thing, and I think we might be seeing some fake glitch things later.
It looks like also Krithel is setting up for the graveyard ledge thing we were talking about before.
Yep, Krithel doing a little spin speed flip into the graveyard ledge.
So what else can you really do with that particular clip that led over to the graveyard ledge?
Yeah, so checking graveyard ledge is the primary use, and that also gets you bombs, which can be clicking, but it can also be used to set up a jump to King's Tomb, which I suspect we're going to see very quickly.
Looks like Krithel didn't quite get it.
Yeah, got a slightly wrong jump there, and soft lock inside of the area right above the transition. So the King's Tomb jump is a little more finicky than the graveyard ledge flip in general, because you need to land on a very specific spot so that you can get a good jump. Krithel is choosing to do something on Dark Path instead.
Yeah, I'm curious what Krithel might be wanting to do here.
Well, we got the mirror pretty early, and the mirror is enough to put Pyramid on without needing pesky crystals. So you just saw Krithel do a screen wrap flip and then go into the portal and place a mirror portal. And the game thinks that mirror portal is actually the castle courtyard. Unfortunately, saving and quitting is good.
Yeah, because normally when you save and quit, you lose whatever mirror portals that you have.
Yep, the only way to preserve your mirror portal would be to either die and save and continue that way, or use some other way of doing it.
And luckily with Death Mountain, you do have the boulders that come down, and it will still give you it'll do 100 damage regardless of what mail you have. And
yeah, the boulders on GT are kind of funny because they won't hit you. Will hit you know?
So it looks like Krithel has a bottle in reserve and trying to do. Looks like he wants to do something with this transition.
Yeah, this is what they're setting up with. Do Big Flute, which is a glitch that involves drinking a blue potion in the exact same frame you hit a screen transition, and in the overworld that will bring up the flute menu. And it may look like Krithel is in the light world right now. They're actually in the dark world, or they will be in the dark world very soon.
Yeah, and actually looks like he also used the bottle. Use that the one bottle to actually get that flute menu.
Yeah, it brings up the flute menu when you bring on the transition. When you land, you have Super Button for free in the world, which is a very rare state. It's difficult to get any other way. And you just saw Krithel use that to pull open in front of Thieves' Town, which also gives you links to it.
So we went from a bunny and over to a link state.
Yeah, this is still a slightly discount link state, though, because if you go inside of a cave and come back out, you get fun. And Krithel chose to use that to protect this hut in the Village of Outcomes that is otherwise basically impossible to show this one.
I know what this is. This looks like it's that one Super Bunny trick from over from the buyer area.
Yeah, it's the same mirror into a doorway trick, except it has a couple more uses in Village of Outcasts, and specifically in Overworld Glitches, because you get to the Village of Outcasts area with just the mirror or via the big so.
It looks like every time Krithel does manage to fail it, it looks like he's able to get into he's able to get beer bongs and lets him try again a lot quicker.
Yeah, the door in the house here kind of gets in the way there. Looks like he got it though.
Yeah, got 50 rupees out of there.
I'm sure we'll be seeing the same thing in chess game. Also have the Dark World map check. Saw Luke in the pod.
I also saw Green Pennant Swamp and a 5/6 on ice.
Krithel doing a dungeon revive Super Bunny here. This is out of logic because you don't have a way to open up Thieves' Town in logic, but it's a convenient way to stay finished.
Yeah, I've heard about the Dungeon Bunny revival in entrance randomizers as well.
Yeah, it's very convenient in entrance because you entrances. Okay, it's a dungeon. I can die here. Check everything.
Oh, hello, there's the Moon Pearl.
Yeah, MM2, briefly being disappointed, not a, but being very excited to find it. That's a really good one right there.
And it looks so that does mean that we now have a way to traverse the Dark Worlds now.
Yeah, that also means that that particular glitch is required, I believe, because the 5 and 6 crystals are in the Dark World.
And Krithel had tried to do this before, but was trying to route in the King's Tomb check, but didn't quite get it again, so had to lose the mirror portal.
Yeah, I think Krithel would have run into a problem with King's Tomb check anyways, because you didn't have the Titan's Means to get out. So they would have been able to pick one of those. I hope that they check after checking Pyramid.
Let's hope so too, because like we said, it was important. So it looks like MM2 is now in the water.
Yep, totally normal water where every player spins, right? No, not quite. So that's another spin speed clip from the area just outside. Pyramid Picker now. It can be used for two things. It can be used to get sand, or it can be used to the other hammer picks, actually.
Yeah, normally you're not supposed to be. You can't even possibly get over to this bit of water, and we're in fake flipper state anyway.
Yeah, it's a fun little clip because the way the screen is laid out, it actually gives you a brief looking. See MM2NS doing a particular input to get out in that little state near the corner of the screen.
It looks like we're going to Hype Cave now, and from the tracker that I have set up here, it looks like it's in Logic.
Yeah, Hype Cave is in Logic as long as you have an and you also see Krithel and Skullwoods, which is actually also in Logic, even without. Okay, we got a longer one. So we have Green Pendant Mire and Blue Pendant Mire.
And welcome aboard Vortex with his party of 4 to the Goba Podcast Overworld Glitches Mentor Tournament. We have a match between mm2nescartridge and Krithel. And from the looks of things, we actually need to do a Pyramid Fairy clip to get the Moon Pearl.
Yeah, we see Krithel doing that clip right now. We saw him place the mirror portal. He's doing the ending to get off the mountain after Hurricane Scan. So he'll have to hook it to the front of the castle, but pretty clear sailing from there. Oh, I say that, and Krithel is doing the more exciting river clip, which is a way to get from that little corner of land to the castle area without going through boring screens.
Yeah, this is a very unorthodox very unorthodox thing to do. And okay, it looks like MM2 is looking to do another boots clip.
Yeah, MM2 is headed towards Mire. Doing a boots clip with the crazy in time going or digging game. Which is always exciting.
That rain looks really weird.
The game doesn't really like you entering the mine. This is your future.
Yeah, it looked like it was it definitely looked like it was gonna freak out. Like it was gonna freak out. Oh, hello, that's a nice rod.
It's an ice rod and Ether. I don't think Ether was the medallion for mine. It was Quake, but
Yeah, it was Quake.
It's still nice to get that ice rat since turtle is crystal.
Yep, it is required. Krithel looking to do a castle run after doing the Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of having the mirror portal there. You can go immediately into the castle, and it's one of the reasons why we went to the castle a little later than normal. Because we have easy access to it if we end up doing that preliminary flip.
It looks like now MM2 is going to head back over to the Mario area. We're going to see more of that really screwed up brain.
I think MM2 might be going back to the Village of Outposts because they don't have the glove or the mitts. Right? So you have to kind of do a couple flips to get past that big.
Huh, okay.
That can actually be pretty fast too if you don't, even if you have the mitts. Get up to this area without, this is
Also, it didn't say this the first time around, but also looks like Skull was the other 5-6, and it looks like our tracker also got that up as well.
Yep, we see MM2 doing some a little earlier along Thieves Town check, and Krithel doing some passes.
Okay, MM2 is doing another boots clip.
Yep, this is the clip to get to the magic pet. It's a little. See MM2 diving into the water there. That is exactly the type of failure that would cause us off flips. So it's a good thing they don't have it.
That was definitely a screen transition.
Yeah, you kind of jump over the transition and get it from the other side. So, in a very weird state where you have to have some directions, jump ledge towards that gate.
And just some bumps though.
Yeah, that can be a really fun check for something important to be.
Yeah, definitely it looks kind of fun because of that mirror wrap. That little Trillo transition wrap, rather the really crazy transition.
It's also kind of a fun check early because you often, well, relatively often, don't have magic for opening implements of the game, and sometimes you get the magic powder and you have to find magic so that you can check the magic pad for your first stroke and take or go. So Krithel checking the bumper cave item. Didn't get it, so I assume it wasn't anything good. There is a clip to get items, so it's kind of an, as long as you have Dark World access.
So we're getting a flu activation from MM2.
Yep, the flute in Overworld Glitches is mostly contains something. Gets you places faster. It's not working. It's so flipping.
In my times of practicing Overworld Glitches, I've often used that flute as a more of a safety item because I'm not really entirely I'm not like an entire expert when it comes to the various Overworld like various clips you gotta do.
Yeah, there's a lot of clips that are strict optimization clips. Flute, it's activated. You don't always do every seed. You can skip a lot because you can still get to places. MM2 is dipping leaves down here. Since we don't have the hammer, not sure if either of our runners are too interested in finishing the leaves down in the basement, but let's see.
Growth are going to get the flutes. Like you mentioned, they'd be pretty happy to have that little convenience item, like you mentioned.
Yeah, sometimes it's tricky to decide exactly when they're out and active. Sick kid and the rest of it. You don't always go back to refill. And since Thieves Town area and Village of Outcasts is often one of your first checks to get Dark World access, it's very possible that they're out there. It's not triggered. While MM2 progressed through Thieves Town, Krithel was earlier. You get that lovely flexion again.
Yeah, that is super distracting most of the time. It actually kind of hurts to look at it sometimes.
It's really distinctly unpleasant. It's also very hard to flip while that's active. You don't direct the flashing by going inside.
There's Cripple's Ice Sword and Ether Medallion. Has all 3 medallions in reserve.
That's a nice little bit of peace of mind, even though we just saw that the Fire Medallion is fake. And Overworld Medallion generally doesn't matter.
Oh, is it?
So it's entirely legal to go into Turtle Rock, but it's usually the least convenient, just because it requires them to use going to the Dark World, portal, keep the portal, or go beyond the top. It's just kind of a pain compared to. You're probably going to see quickly here, which is a thing we call T-Rock Climb, which takes you from the Dark World portal here up to this kind of ledge, and very quickly, Krithel does a mirror rapid to the Lizard Bridge.
That was an interesting. Little transition.
Yeah, Krithel did that very quickly. It's when you use the mirror on the same frame that you hit screen transition, you get kind of a similar effect to some of those glitch transitions you saw earlier, like one or to get to magic back. And it kind of propels you a decent way into the next screen. And with that particular setup, it propels you right into the rock laser bridge, and you can hold up into the ledge and jump down, and it's right on that little kind of balcony.
Yeah, and it also looked like it also screwed up the little transition between rooms with the circle. Because that definitely was not a normal looking circle.
MM2 finishing up Thieves Town, while Krithel goes back into the Dark World presumably to check something else on East Dark Town. This time we see the Turtle Rock climb just used to get to East of Mountain, where they can set up in just slightly different movement. And you could see Krithel going into the middle of Turtle Rock, Laser Bridge, but Hookshot Cave and Circlonia are also accessible here.
Yeah, if this was like if we actually had the similar scenario, no glitches, that like the same item set in glitches, then this would have been in logic. And Krithel looking to do some hovering.
Krithel making it halfway across that gap. That's surprising to see.
Yeah, that's actually not too bad. Yeah. Unfortunately, Krithel did fall, but that's definitely a good effort.
It's further than I can do it. Fortunately, Super Bunny Cave not really having anything exciting either. Okay, it looks like Krithel is headed back into the middle of the quick spin speed clip there. It's one of the easier clips in the game. Just if you do your spin speed there, you just down right into the corner, and walk right into the bridge button.
And with a mirror shield, that definitely helps get rid of past the lasers.
Yeah, those eyes can be real jerks. Going into that entrance without a way to block lasers can get you dead really quickly.
And MM2 get the Quake Medallion off of the Uncle.
Yeah, that's our misery mirror axis. It's a good check to make.
And like we mentioned too, that was also the all three medallions for both players, so peace of mind.
Yeah, it always feels good to know that your seat isn't going to be a ice rock hunt or a medallion hunt. Fortunately, it's looking like it might be a hammer hunt, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it looks like from our tracker, we all they really need is a cane, a hook shot, and a hammer, and possibly flippers.
Yeah, they're gonna need flippers for some things. Also, pretty much all of the fighters are actually missing still. It's kind of nice in that you know that they've most of the game in the swamp, but they still are going to be those items.
And yeah, it looks like the gold sword was also picked up. That's always nice to have a gold sword in hand. Not really like necessary, but it's nice to have like a bit more extra damage.
Our runners are definitely not hurting for the offense with the it's kind of incredible.
Yeah, we have a lot of protection behind us. We have a full offense. No silvers, but we can make do with a gold sword.
Yeah, it's a fun contrast because Overworld Glitches seats opening up so fast can also mean you end up, say, for example, Moon Pearl and Early Mirror, and you might be expected to do Monte without much more than that. Krithel activating that blue ball MM2 NES goes up to Tower of Hera yet again. It's a lot of Tower of Hera troops in these seats.
Krithel doing the really funny looking clip over to the magic bat. I don't know why I forgot that name.
Yeah, runners are kind of retracing each other's footsteps right now. Krithel with the magic bat, and MM2 headed over to Turtle Whacker.
So, because we're having a bit of overlap now, what do you think you might be doing in this situation? What do you think you should go for next?
Well, it's kind of a strange set of items because most of the items that are missing still, and well, really critical items for their respective dungeons. There's not a lot of dungeons that you can do right now. The thing that I'd be thinking about is Pod, because Pod is almost always in logic, and you almost never. Well, bow, but we have the bow in this case. So I would be thinking Pod is advisable at some point, just to get items that let you complete other dungeons.
Pod is a good option. That's 5. There's 5 items there.
We have checks in chat asking if anybody has gone to the Guidance Tower. The answer is no. Definitely haven't. That would also be a reasonable choice. Don't have the scenario to actually make progress, but it's a couple free items just at the start without either of those 2 items.
Both are making simultaneous catfish checks, both coming from the mountain. Oh, hello, that's a lamp.
Yeah, we got the catfish sync going. Krithel doing that splash delete the flipper. Check the waterfall very cave. MM2 doing a clipped hunt. It goes straight from the catfish and puts you right past where Tiki spawns, so you have to actually collect Tiki and walk back to the entrance, which is kind of fun.
I like the black. I just like the black floor that that MM2 has on his screen.
Yeah, game's a little confused right now. Got some sympathy for that.
Okay, so we're heading to pod now. We have a bow, so we don't have to worry about if we're being bow-arced or not.
Yep, as with a lot of things, the ease with which you can enter dark dungeons makes some of the sequence breaks a lot more valuable in Overworld Glitches. So you'll see more mimic clips and things like that sometimes, because you can get into things easier.
So from the looks of things, from MM2's side, this is going to be pretty much like a bog standard pod in terms of the key logic.
Yeah, did some glitches to get in, but this is going to be a pretty normal pod. Pod checks, most of them are keys. Difficult.
And it looks like Krithel is setting up for something a little different here.
Krithel is doing that GT check. It's a nice little clip that gets you into GT. It's a screen rent very similar to the Tower Terror clip, and it completely skips the crystal requirement. That's why when you run Overworld Glitches, you don't really care. It's just all. Unfortunately,
Yeah, go ahead.
Unfortunately, there's only 3 rooms to check. So you're gonna get the cool room and porch in its
Yeah, from what I've read about regarding the GT is that everything in the dungeon is as if you had like 0 crystal requirement for GT, as in there's no like junk fill algorithm.
That is absolutely correct. You have access to it, and access only requires them. That is a lot older. There we see Krithel doing the King's Tomb jump that we did earlier. He's doing great this time, so we'll get that King's Tomb check.
Yeah, there wasn't really anything out of that King's Tomb check.
Yeah, 20 rupees. Sad, people. It's not exciting.
So with the one key that we have, if we were to if we get the hammer, we can do a couple things over on the left side.
I didn't quite see how Krithel got to the middle of that clip. Were they trying to do a teleport to Fake Flipper for Hobo?
I would like to believe so, because we've seen that before with MM2.
I think they got an up instead of down. Ledge leading to the water there.
Is there a distinction between up and down teleports?
Yeah, so an up teleport is 10 pixels in, and a down teleport is 10 pixels in. I know the cues, I don't but it's just a difference of 1 pixel as to whether the game tries to kick you out by moving it up or down. Both of them are useful. Usually, the wrong one does something either harmless or pretty bad. It's a stuff in your brain.
MM2 pick up some mitts.
Yeah, the mitts are really only useful in logic for getting the ice points. Which, I mean, you can now, I guess. It's great, right?
Yeah, you could do that. You could fake flipper to it.
I wouldn't be surprised if we did not see the big flipper into mirror. There's a mirror wrap that fits either as well, and if we find flippers, there's also flipper clip. But the mitts has the advantage of just being, flute to big flipper.
And we also have a book in our hands as well, so we can at least do tablets.
Yeah, checking tablets is definitely easier in Overworld Glitches. So you put it right up the Bombos ledge, and you can get to the Uther template pretty easily. Krithel doing another big flute to get into the Dark World somewhat. Let's see where. Looks like Krithel is headed towards pod with that bit, which we know will get the mitts. It's a pretty nice way to get to pod. It skips needing the ammo, which is a big problem. There's not really any way to use it.
Yeah, and it definitely is a lot more like. It's a lot easier to get. Seems like a little bit easier to get over there because, yeah, you're going to be at that same spot over in the when you're doing that fake flutes. You're basically going to the same places you normally would be able to do in the light world, or if you're playing inverted, to some degree.
Yeah, it gets you access to a lot of places in the dark world that aren't necessarily easiest to get to. Meanwhile, MM2 is cleaning up the desert blocks. Just bombs for their trouble.
But that is another crystal in MM2's possession. It's up to 3 crystals.
Yeah, the crystals have been a little slow this evening with the. It's good to clear out those ones that can get. That boss also had an item, so that's another reason to clear it.
Okay, so where does MM2 wants to go? So looking to go over to the Skull Woods area.
Yeah, there's a lot of options for routing right now. None of them really feel good.
Yeah, from the looks of things, you have the Smith chain ready to go, and you do have the tablets like I've mentioned before.
Yeah, the Smith chain is an interesting one. The Titan Smiths put that in logic. There are ways to get those Smiths through a bottle or a mirror that are reasonable enough to expect people to be doing perfectly.
We may need a bit of cropping over on Krippel's timer. And some sticks in the pinball room. That does not look right.
Yeah, Orange mentioning in chat that chasing the logic is a good choice, because if the game gives you the mitts, it probably expects you to use them.
Okay, so going to the back into the Gibdo room, possibly one of the worst rooms in this game.
Yeah, any room with wall masters is a candidate for that. That one in
Not just the wall masters, but the Gibdos as well. Like they take quite a while to get down.
Yeah, we're fortunate with this, with the level of fear that our players have. It's also very satisfying to be able to. So Krithel's done with pod. Let's see what they do next. I have a question in chat as to whether you can get Smith without mitts. Practically yes, but the logic will expect mitts, because the only ways to do mitts with Smith involve either a mirror wrap or, well, either a YBA, a somewhat tricky clip that involves a non-standard clip from the Meyer area. That's not really fitting with a beginner's glitch.
And we gotta cancel Maria off of the Meyer tablet. Or not the Meyer tablet, the Ether tablet. Two different things. We also got a pet check from MM2, and just a piece of love. We can just skip that easily.
Canis Samaria will do good things for being able to check them out. Hopefully also GT eventually. I think that also puts Myra in one. It's tap the down in and get there, use it. So why not?
And also we can navigate a bit of pod, or a bit not pod. We can navigate a bit of Turtle Rock.
Yeah, having access to all the entrances to Turtle Rock without the Canis kind of leaves it in the fragmented state. It's difficult to check all the chests. Orange in chat mentioning that there is also a mirror jump to get Smiths. I'm happy to forget that exists because it's real painful.
Could you run me through exactly what a mirror jump is?
Sure, so a mirror jump is a particular kind of glitch where you jump off a cliff and use the mirror on a very specific frame in the jump animation. It places the mirror portal right before you actually jump, or uses the mirror right before you actually jump, and you can use that to kind of work a mirror portal into the right spot, get inside the box for Smith, lifting him up. It's something that we used to do an awful lot of because it was very quick, right? And one of the first ways to discover to get the Smith points. It's difficult enough and very contradictory that most people will do the other points instead, like this.
I think I've seen some form of mirror jump in on videos from YouTube where they mention you can actually get to the Dark World as a bunny by using something similar to a mirror jump.
Yeah,
over that one spot by the bridge.
Fortunately, that one's a little easier than that. That's just a simple mirror flip. Place in the portal, go into it very carefully, and you don't have to time that. The mirror jumps time is what makes them really to do. So a single frame when it works. MM2NES turning in a purple chest, getting nothing good. Bombos now.
So we keep mentioning these bumps that for these various clips. What exactly what are they looking for when it comes to the bumps? Also, there's the flippers.
That's a big find. That'll get us into Swamp Palace, but not past. Sure. So the bumps on those diagonal walls, there's kind of a it's hard to explain without a reference, but there's kind of areas where the wall turns vertical for help fixes, and kind of makes a visually distinct bump, and that's where people line up teleporters. And it's just an easy way to talk about where on the wall to teleport, because sometimes you need to be at a particular place to get a particular teleport, and there's not really a good other reference. Check saying that the mirror jump is a 20th frame correct, which is unfortunately very true.
So M2 heading back into the Meyer basement, or Meyer basement, Hera basement. Slip of the tongue there.
Yeah, I think both of our runners. Just the boss? Is that right?
Yeah, both got the boss down. There was a key on Moldorn.
Just a piece of that's a check that you always want to avoid doing if you can, but I think that our runners are running a little low on checks that they can do easily.
So MM2 is going to get the Cancer Maria off of the Ether tablet. Now, if MM2 chooses, he could head over to the right side now that we have Arcane of GT.
Well, practically yes. Practically won't, because the right side of the person. And while you can do the bomb jump to the lamp, it's kind of a pain. It will get access to the tile room, which everybody loves checking tile room, right?
Yeah, tile room is definitely a thing. So it looks like instead MM2 is going to head over to the over the east Dark Tech Mountain area through the land bridge.
I would imagine some of them thinking, since it connects everything together so easily, when you can actually use this amount of platforms. I believe we've seen everything except the front and Crystal, possibly even Crystal. I don't remember if Krithel checked that a lot earlier.
I don't believe we've seen that yet, the Crystal Roller Room. But we definitely have not seen the front of Turtle Rock because we didn't have a cane at the time.
Yeah, and we still don't have access to the roller room. The seed has just been a sequence of hard decisions about where to dip. There's been a lot of dungeons where you only have access to a couple chests. You have to decide about whether you dip there or also chests. Yeah, we saw the Hope Room and Torch, and I believe there was exactly.
There was only a small key out of the Hope Room, so we have at least one key in reserve.
I want to say that only Krithel knows that, so you might see a check from him that.
Yeah, because Cripple had done this before, had wanted the GT before, without Kane. Also, Krithel to get the flippers here from off the bottom of those tablets. Both tablets were required.
Yeah, that makes that book in U-Room and Pod also really important. Yeah.
Looks like M2 actually was going to first head over to the right side, but opted. But looks like it was either from one of the mentors. Decides no, just go ahead and do this first, and rightfully so. There's a big key.
And that's why we didn't get our restream range. So I believe that puts everything in Turtle Rock in lockup accessible except
Yeah, we can't kill Shrine next to it because we have no fire rod.
Krithel is diving Laser Mire, which should be able to access that, but it's not a very dense dungeon for items.
Yeah, only 2 items in Mire.
But if they're the 2 right items, they can have a big impact on this race. Chat mentioning the possibility of a forced GT climb with a hookshot, which is exactly the kind of thing that Overworld Glitches can deliver.
And currently, to answer a question in chat, the fire rod is still out of the wild.
Does Crystal Roller Room and TR get blocked by fire rod as well? Nope. It's just blocked by either the big key or some plus land effectively. But it's a fairly easy dark room, so you'll often see people check that as well.
We got ourselves a hammer out of the Crystal Roller Room.
That's a nice big find. That'll unlock several things.
Ice Palace is fully clearable. And we can also head over to the left side of GT.
That also puts a decent chunk of swamp in that logic, and that's not something you necessarily need to have access to when it's still out there.
And MM2 is going to go and do the laser bridge with the mirror shield. This is not a big deal. Normally, you would need this anyway for a progression in the vanilla game.
Yeah, it's fun to see somebody showing off that where you can use the mirror to block both directions.
MM2 looking wasn't quite sure isn't sure what to do here. Okay, looks like he's going to do a mirror.
I think he was deciding whether he should get out from whether you can get out from continue on there. Oh, he's okay. Mimic Cave. Yeah, this is a good check.
Yeah, we did get the hammer from out of the Crystal Roller Room, so this makes sense to do the Mimic Cave.
This is a location that's slightly easier to check. It doesn't actually strictly require code block, so you can do without that.
Okay, now we're seeing the same quit from MM2.
Krithel continuing in Mark. I don't think we've seen any exciting items. I say that, and they're the silver ones.
Those silvers that silver placement is quite frankly a pretty rude spot.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see those if MM2 ends up go mode in Mark. luckily Krithel can finish Misery, which is probably pretty convenient rather than something like Sweat Ice.
So, okay, we're going to head into Ice Palace now, and this is, again, entirely within no glitches reach with the current loadout that they have.
Yeah, having so many items makes it disgustingly easy to get to this.
And we can also Icebreaker, which hasn't really changed, which for the most part hasn't changed in terms of the glitches.
Yep, the dungeon rules are exactly the same as normal glitches. See the same glitches, and they're pretty neat. Given the placement so far, I would not be surprised if there's some critical items in this place. Ice Palace likes to be a little coy about its items, since if there's not an item in an important item in that Navigator chest, it's open. Really good. Get to some of the other ones.
And Krithel has, while we're looking at Ice Palace, had knocked down Vitreous, got the green pendant.
We'll see if that gets turned in before. Because with Cane of Samaria, you know that's got to be on Krithle's
Okay, MM2 is getting ready for the Icebreaker clip. Looks like MM2 is doing a variation of this of the Icebreaker clip.
Yeah, I haven't seen that with the sword held out to make the positioning easier.
I'm more familiar with the sword buffer version of the Icebreaker clip, just that's the one I'm more familiar with, and that green pendant didn't really turn out to be anything, it's just a heart container.
Brings Krithel back at the mountain. I can only assume Fertile is on the menu, although we might get a D2 if it's done.
There we go. Took MM2 a bit, but manages to get the Icebreaker.
Krithel doing the kind of basic check, which we saw MM2 doing a few minutes ago. I have a question in chat about who's ahead, and the simple truth is I don't know because we're still functioning this game. But MM2 has the hand, Krithel doesn't, which is a decent advantage right now.
Yeah, I put the advantage in the favor of MM2 just because of that hammer.
If the hammer was in TR Crystal Room, and I can only assume that Krithel will end up there eventually. It'll make a big difference whether he checks that sooner.
Yeah, it really depends on what Krithel will do after the Hera basement. If
Might be.
Go ahead.
Might be thinking that they can go into Hera basement or the Proto Rock. It does seem to be where
So here's the key out of the big chest, and seems like Krithel wants to do. He's going to go into GT. It's going to go in GT again. Going to do the going for the right side.
yeah, we'll get to see the same three checks that MM2 did, and also possibly Tyler, which it's a check.
So to answer a question, so otherTom, you could actually probably want to answer this question, asking about like what exactly is Overworld Glitches for those who are coming into this a little bit late in.
Sure, so Overworld Glitches is a rule set that allows substantially more glitches than glitches rule set. Particularly, it allows most major glitches as long as they're done. So flipping through walls, certain types of screen corruption, screen transition corruptions. The overall effect is that items on the overworld are very easy to get glitches and can be obtained with many fewer items.
Yeah, from the times I've played Overworld Glitches, it's definitely fun to play once you know what you're doing. Oh, hello, that's the fire rod, rather.
The good old fire rod and ice pellets. So that means that bombos are getting this quest. You are one item closer to actual remote.
Yep, just the hook shot is all is left.
Seeing that fire rod right there, right now, is also interesting because the purple will be the sequence to check these shots without the fire. But we know where the fire rod is, so it's possible that hook shot.
Oh, and the good news for MM2 is that because of the fact that MM2 got a lot of Turtle Rock completed, this actually makes it so that all Krithel MM2 really needs to do is do that mirror wrap or that one weird clip from earlier where we got into Turtle Rock through the laser bridge entrance.
Yeah, MM2 might have a very clean up curve. Well, I guess after finding the fire rod.
Very quick and easy cold stare fight from MM2. There's the last item, just some bombs, but warm pearl and that's a crystal.
Chat bringing up that hook shot might not be able to be in detail because of the logic in the chat's front.
Yeah, there's a lot of logical differences between no glitches and overworld glitches, because of the fact that we're doing a lot of crazy trickery to get into dungeons or places that you normally would need a lot of all the basic stock items for in no glitches. But
yeah, GT actually does have key logic in all modes, but it doesn't really come into play in there. So you usually have all items minus, a couple when you enter GT for the first time, unless you're playing on reduced crystal count.
We also got half magic out of the compass room.
Yeah, that's a nice little quality of life item, although with their current loadout, we're gonna feel the need for that very much.
And looking like MM2 is going to head over to Skullboy is going to clear out Mafia.
Yeah, this is another little bit of crystal cleanup we can do now through the fire rod. So, I think potentially an item still. I'm not sure. I wasn't watching the first specific squads.
Oh boy, there's a shovel.
I think that due to the key logic stuff earlier, we know that it doesn't do that.
And it's kind of bad to see the shovel here at this point, because normally if you really wanted to route in that, you can't really route that shovel in efficiently because we've already done the K45 checks.
Yeah, Overworld Glitches gets you to places so much earlier that it can make certain places very easy to miss.
So here's a modular fights from MM2. Should be pretty quick though.
Yeah, thanks to that patch in the randomizer, you can actually perk Mothula gold sword swings, and they do pretty substantial damage.
It doesn't make the spike bug not go away, but that's a moth kill down.
remaining question is, where is that hook shot? MM2 is going to have to make some choices for a route.
Yeah, at this point, I haven't really kept track of the pod items yet, but I have it set up as maybe there's one item on Helma. I haven't really paid attention, but we can also see, we may see something over on, we can get a clear Turtle Rock. Oops.
Yeah, there's those 3 chests, or 3 items in front of them, potentially still blocks. They didn't show it. They tried to. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw this, but MM2 missed the bird when trying to get the flutes on that certain spot. I've practiced it enough times. It seems to be some sort of weird a position issue, like how like movement works with Link.
Yeah, maybe some kind of frame roll thing where you're moving past it, the same as you. You see a dive into Ice Palace on Krithel screen here without the hammers. Krithle's gonna find that fire, but not be able to finish the dungeon.
And it looks like we're gonna see a Trinix kill.
And M2NES doing that move around to the laser bridge in Turtle Rock. I've already checked the chest here, so it's a quick shot to the boss.
It's still kind of funny to see that the circle just glitched out like that as soon as you entered the dungeon.
Yeah, the camera gets very confused when you do mirror wraps, and it doesn't always quite know exactly position it into.
Okay, so this will be a Trinix fight for MM2 with the Fire Rod in hand.
Always feels good to fight Trinex with this gold sword and all that kind of stuff, because due to Trinex being so easy to get to, which sometimes it does force you in here a little earlier than you like.
And because of the gold sword, you could also opt for a zero cycle, but MM2 just chooses not to do it.
Nice safe Trinex kill there from you.
Very well done. And just some bops.
And then two, discovering that when you exit that Turtle Rock after killing Trinex, it does put you right into the Fortunately, you can mirror and go right back to use the portal and continue with the Dark, which it looks like that's what M2 is going to be doing. Krithel is continuing his hunt for the hammer. Looks like he's going to be checking Skull Woods now that he has the Fire Rod.
Yeah, which is interesting because I don't know if we saw or I didn't see it, a Cold Stare kill from Krithel.
No, Krithel could not kill Goldster.
Oh yeah, because of the lack of the hammer.
Yeah, it's one of those requirements, along with the glove, that is a little more common in Overworld Glitches. It really sucks to die Ice Palace without a glove and get the bottom and realize you can't lift the rock to get the monster.
And we know that the hammer is in Turtle Rock. It's on the Crystal Roller Room.
Yep, we see MM2NES doing the traditional string. roller room in Turtle Rock without hookshot, which is light a couple of the torches, realize you don't have hookshot. Again from the other side.
Yeah, because without the hook shot, we can't possibly make this any quicker.
Yep. It's a really easy thing to forget.
And there it is.
Impossible item placement. What can you say?
That's go mode.
Unfortunately, that means that Krithel will have to do two. Well, no, Krithel will probably be able to get that one. But has to make the decision to go to Turtle Rock. And that might take a little bit. He has a lot of other things to check.
So I wonder what M2 is trying to do here. Okay, it looks like he's just mirroring out. Don't know what he was trying to do for this one.
Probably just making a beeline for Swamp and confusion for how to flip this.
And to answer a question in chat, it is a 7-7 defeat cannon goal.
Krithel being disappointed by the pedestal check, which we saw earlier on the 2 screen.
Yeah, just a piece of heart. Nothing really to go off of. Nothing really important. Move along.
Yeah, I could see why that would be a point of concern for Krithel at this point, because the remaining pendant dungeons don't require the hook shot. So it's very possible that that could have been that. Okay, it looks like Krithel is indeed hit. I don't think there's anything else in darkness. Check. Hopefully we'll see either a mirror wrap or flip into the middle of it. And I need that hammer.
So for MM2, at this point, it's his race to lose.
MM2 just needs to do Swamp, and that's it.
And not to mention, too, we also need to find that big key. So, well, we can't really play a guessing game because we already seen 2 checks. It's
Yeah,
about a good couple checks already.
Overworld Glitches kind of distributes the guessing game over the entire seed, which makes it hard to run as a game.
And considering too that M2, I think for the most part has put off GT. All he really needs to do is just go and just go into Swamp, just darp it down, and get into GT and just find the big key and get out.
Yeah, to answer your question, Chet, both of our racers still have to do some. I believe Krithel did the right side and middle room, and MM2 only did the room torch.
Nicely done, diver down.
Yeah, see a couple checks there just on the way. And we get another skill pretty quicker. I'm kind of curious what. Oh, did MM2 never get silver emeralds?
He has not. No, he never went to Meyer.
Okay, so that's probably two he's looking for in these checks along the way. So you have a current status update. MM2 is in go mode. Just needs to do the end of Swamp Palace right here and climb GT. Krithel needs to find the hammer in Turtle, which looks to be happening pretty soon.
Yeah, what Krill's gonna do is get the hook shot from out of Turtle Rock, and then it's gonna head over to possibly go over to the Crystal Roller room and get the hammer.
Yeah, the routing for Turtle Rock is a little strange if you don't have access to Crystal Roller room without the big key. So finding the big key in the front there is going to make it easy to check the Crystal Roller room from the non-laser side.
That is MM2 7th and final crystal. We're now heading to GT. MM2 has to go and find the big key.
We know it's right on. It's not on right side, but let's see what MM2 decides to route.
And and to answer your question, chat, is this going to be Krithel has been into Turtle Rock before.
This has been a seed with no shortage of multi-dips and dungeons, unfortunately.
Well, except for the for Hero Club, because we always go to Hera.
We spent a great deal of quality time in Tower of Hera, mostly in very short segments.
All right, going into GT.
Multi-dipping GT in Overworld Glitches is substantially less painful than is maybe Glitches. So it's not nearly as big of a hit. But that's right, MM2 hasn't been in GT at all.
Yeah, for MM2, this is a single dip.
That's actually fairly uncommon in Glitches. It's not really anything useful in GT.
Yeah, in the race I did with Nobly, we actually put off GT for a good while, and once we got our go mode, we just single dip the entire dungeon.
Chat pointing out that indeed you could have actually entered GT with crystals. Well, I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that.
So Krithel should have had the hammer by now, because now he's going to do the normal intended way of going to the dark maze.
Yeah, we'll see when he menus. Assume that he on the way. There's no menu in quick swap. Ah!
Okay, so this is we're on to phase 2 of the Tronics fight over on Krithel's side.
Yeah, we also see MM2 checking Rando Room, which we know is the big key because we've seen checks the key.
There it is. So it's up the tower we go for MM2.
Yep, should be a pretty uneventful given the fear and lack of need for any other items. I expect we'll see them to continue to check those. GMP. It's overs, but we know that. Looks like Krithel is going in rather than saving it for Ginland, which is a totally deliberate choice.
Yeah, because he does have the hammer now. So he's in go mode, but he has to do a couple more dungeons to have the right to fight Ganon.
Yeah, having GT roaded in like this puts you relatively close to spawn, which isn't a terrible way to get there.
So again, I'm putting MM2 in the lead. It's like I mentioned, it's MM2's race to lose.
Yeah, MM2 definitely gained a lot of so much earlier.
And especially considering too that the one thing that MM2 did that Krithel didn't do is stay in Ice Palace as soon as he got the Fire Rod, because he was still looking for the hook shot by then.
Yeah, that's another point too, that Krithel will have to go first.
So as we are winding down this race, coming to the point where we fight Aga 2, definitely give MM2, NEScartridge, and Krithel a nice hearty follow. They've put on quite a show for you all, and definitely also want to give a shout out to the mentors that are helping out these two, Malmo for MM2 and Obscure Lifeform for Krithel. And also want to give a special shout out to Minoas27 for the tracking, as well as our Restreamer YeOldFartGamer. Definitely a great name, that's for sure. And you're listening to Professor Render and otherTom on the commentary booth. Give us a follow as well.
Well said. We've got both runners progressing to GT now. Krithel has found that big key as well. Expecting that it'll be pretty quiet on the glitch front. All these items and only 2 dungeons left to do for the side. MM2 NES will be able to do right from the Ganon and GT, which is always a good feeling, even if it's means saving GT first.
Now, MM2 could still possibly check chests over here in search of the silver arrows, which looks like that's exactly what it's going to be doing. Of course, we know it's in Mire, and it's again quite a rude spot. And we had a feeling this would happen, where MM2 would not be able to get those silvers anytime soon because he never dipped into Mire.
Yeah, they're in the Mire big chest. Even if you dip into Mire, you don't necessarily check early in the dungeon.
Yeah, it's a very rude spot. Ooh.
We'll learn through this bully.
Yeah, just kind of just poked him and came crashing down from there. I mean, luckily it's just 2 hits anyway, so it's not too much of a concern. Yep, now that was bad.
Yeah, Moldorm 2 knocks you a very long ways with its dag.
Yeah, if it hits you, it is definitely gonna hurt. I'm not even trying to make a reference to Donkey Kong 64 with that one. But there goes Moldorm 2. Gonna probably look at Molder M2 chest to find the silvers. Yep, just a piece of heart though. Those silvers are in Mire.
Krithel making up just a little bit of time. GT.
So here comes the Eka 2 fights for MM2.
Those are kind of awkward positions to play more than a simple hit.
Yeah, that's definitely not a really good place for that that pattern there. But even more so on this spot too.
Yep, MM2 doing an admirable job getting those hits.
Just looking for one more. There we go.
We managed to even have both of our runners in Eka 2 at the same time, even though Krithel does have some things to do after this.
And like we mentioned too, because Krithel still has to do ice and swamp.
Yeah, those will be relatively quick dungeons to go mode, but it's definitely faster than not.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good to leave them alone, especially when MM2 already has them already taken care of. Also, nice Kafka reference, Ganon. I've never played any of the the SNES Final Fantasy games, even though I really should be.
MM2 goes through the first two phases again and extremely quickly, working the third here. Going to have to do a silver list since it didn't get the silvers in Iron, but hopefully that will go smoothly.
And MM2 is going to get the information about Mire, and there's going to be like, yeah, we were never going to go into Mire because that's a pretty dumb, pretty rude spot. Again, we mentioned it was in the Mire bait chest.
Yeah, Mire was an interesting choice. There's definitely an argument to be made dipping it as a green pendant and 2 items at a time when needed a lot of items, but it turns out that all the items were in. Oh,
oops!
MM2 takes a fall.
Yeah, it looks like he accidentally slashed Ganon and ended up taking the fall.
Yeah, not quite.
No worries. Still has plenty of time though. So the one thing that will be different for this fight is that the patterns will be different because for the first fight and the first fight only, Ganon's patterns are seeded, and then once you do a refight, then you lose that seeding. And you have to do a completely different fight.
That is very true. So MM2 get that convenient berry in the tree right outside of Ganon's house too. So break back up to get if you need help after Ganon up. Krithel progressing through Swamp here, showing us how quick Swamp can be when you don't need any items and what's in any of the chests. And MM2 is back to phase 4.
Krithel onto the Argus fight.
Yep, MM2 is getting to the end of this phase. Silverless with Gold Sword is still 12 hits, because the spins don't do any damage.
A lot of range for that spin there.
I would imagine the nerves are pretty high right now.
Yeah, for sure. I can imagine, especially when you took a fall to Ganon. You're like, oh no, now I've stepped in it.
Yep, you gotta be wondering if that's what's gonna make flip the race. We know that MM2 has no reason to be concerned right now, but still don't feel that.
That's it. GG's in the chat for MM2.
GG MM2.
So he'll be taking the gold medal here in this race, crossing the finish line with an official race time, that GG time of 1:54.44.
Krithel was just a nice Malice mod.
At least the good news is that Krithel will be coming out with with some silvers.
Yeah, that should make the Ganon better. We're also going to see a pretty fast spells here. Already been input the items, so this is just going to be straight to the boss. Pulling off a very solid icebreaker.
And it looks like we hear some pings here. See that MM2 NES cartridge and Malmo has entered the booth here. GG's to you.
GG.
GG.
I am shaking now. So yeah, GG. That was a seed.
Yeah,
that
that
was. So Krithel does have the silvers. It actually ended up being in the Meyer big chest, which is a pretty rude spot.
Well then.
Yeah, how did you feel about that hammer placement and hook shot?
The hammer placement was that was a fun hammer placement, because like once we were done with, I think it was Thieves Town, we were like, okay, all the good places are gone. What bad places will we be going? And then we just happened to pick TR, and then it was fine. Like we found the hammer, and then like it wasn't really fine, but it felt like we made most of the right calls. Like Pendant Pod without the hammer definitely was a good call, because we got the book, and the book ended up leading to the flippers, and the flippers were like just rude. But I don't know.
Yeah, that Pendant Pod dip really made a big difference.
definitely took some time to realize that pod was actually required because of that book.
Yeah.
Because we did it super early.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, we found book and all this other crap. Cause like the pendant, because like I didn't really think too much of the book because it was like 2 checks, and then the 2 checks ended up being Cane of Samaria and Flippers.
Yeah, that's a pretty valuable book.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about the Cane of Samaria on tablet.
Yeah, that was a thing. Quite required, unless you can hover like nobody else.
Given where the hookshot was,
Yeah.
Yeah, this kind of felt like a scene where it just threw the non-essential items at you. I think you had Tempered Sword or Gold Sword and Red Mail and 12 hearts 20 minutes in or 30 minutes in. It was just ridiculous, and then it hit all.
Something like that. Like, I was noting in like when I got Red Mail, I was like, okay, sub 10 Red Mail, and then I got Tempered Sword in Eastern, and that was just hilarious.
And then it turned into a hunt for Overworld Glitches Mentor.
Yeah, it was definitely a very offensive heavy start. A lot of the offense items were in the early game.
Yeah, like you got a lot. Like you got the bow, the 2 deaths in Old Man. Well, to the Dead Rocks, really. The 2 deaths really early. That just like it definitely set my mind in a different place.
Oh, those Dead Rocks were just relentlessly bullying you.
Yeah, that was not fun. But then the bow, I was like, okay, the bow means like the bow to me. The bow was signaling Eastern. And then when we didn't find anything Eastern and the lamp was on Catfish, we were like, okay, it probably means pod. So
yeah, being able to run pop that.
Also, GG's in the chats for Krithel. He's going to be finishing in the runner-up spot with an official racetime.gg time of 2 hours and 13 seconds.
GG, Krithel.
GG.
So let's see if we can get Krithel in here for an interview, just to get the two discuss about the speed. Looks like they're in the green room right now. We'll get them in pretty soon. Hello, Obscure. Hello, Krithel. GG's.
GG.
GG, Krithel.
So, Krithel, what did you think about that scene?
Oh, what a mess.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was one of those really strange scenes where you had to route completely differently because, well, the 2 items that you needed were actually ended up being in Turtle Rock, and it definitely does hurt when you miss it out like in the first time.
Yeah, I mean, we did our first Turtle Rock play without Cane or Fire Rod, which obviously made things pretty awkward because it was quite a long time before we went back there. So yeah, that just made routing the entire rest of the thing awkward because we'd cleared so much in TR, it wasn't that attractive to go back there at any point.
Yeah, Hookshot was our go mode, but like we did
hammer.
Trinex. We did Trinex and then immediately went back into TR and then got the Hookshot because
yeah,
like we did a first dip, then we did some other stuff, then we came back. But yeah, that was how it went.
So to both runners, what kind of tricks did you learn while you were doing this scene?
For me, the biggest one was the DMD from the Titans Mitts portal on the lower East Death Mountain down to Mushroom area. That was an on the fly thing.
Oh sure, the Witch DMD.
Yeah, the Witch DMD. That's what it's called.
Yeah, that was.
And I learned a few random teleports. So going from Witch over to Eastern and then back to grab a blue potion. And I've not actually done much in the way of fake fluting, so Obscure was leading me on that one.
Yeah, you did a couple of fake flutes. Those were really helpful, particularly the 1 to 5.
Yeah,
we wanted to fake flute too, but the potion got drunk at some point. We were going to go to 7 from Turtle Rock to do Swamp Palace.
Yeah, that was going to be a thing, and then it wasn't, and we were sad. You can't win them all.
I know Krithel did the one clip from the little river, and where we did the pyramid fairy. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was fun. Because obviously tried to do that pretty early on and then soft locked. Because the plan was to go and Houlihan and wrap around back into the castle to get Pyramid Fairy. So soft locked on the way there, which led us to doing a lot of the fake flutes. So when I did it the second time, because ages ago I did ADRMG, I know how to do that from DMDing in the light world better. I was more confident with that than going down to Graveyard Ledge, and then I had to work out how to get into and fix the screen once we'd gone and done it.
Yeah, that's some good tech for getting silvers in ADRMG. That's awesome too.
Yeah.
I've had to practice.
Yeah, I knew that clip, Pyramid Fairy clip from ADRMG as well.
I might want to learn that one because that definitely looks a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, it's definitely really useful. It's just, it's annoying when you have like 12 hearts red mail and you're trying to death warp.
Yeah, even I would probably just use the I just use the rocks instead, just to death warp out of it.
Yeah, that ended up being what I did.
Yeah, the death warp is nice and safe and gets you
Yeah.
to the Link's house without any chance of anything else going on. It is kind of slow though, particularly when you're ripping.
Yeah, we got so much health early on, and the armor that death warping anywhere was super slow.
Yeah, and then the Moon Pearl and Pyramid Fairy was a heck of a placement for an Overworld Glitches seed.
Yeah, that was an interesting placement.
Yeah, because you had to use you had to be in a bunny state in order to actually get that Moon Pearl.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice feeling when you find a Moon Pearl, and then you can just continue doing Dark World checks all along.
Yeah, I saw somebody, I think it was Orange in chat for the Walter versus Krubble race, being like, we had an Aga seed before a Moon Pearl and Dark World seed, and now we have a Moon Pearl and Dark World seed, so just find that interesting.
But other than that, if you got any parting thoughts for the seed, definitely sound off.
Well, first of all, GG to Krithel, amazing race. That was a lot of fun, and of course, thank you to my mentor Malmo. You're awesome. You definitely helped me a lot through the seed and in general. So thanks a lot for being my mentor.
Yeah, good job.
And then, of course, thank you to all the Restream team. Thank you to the commentators, otherTom and Professor Render. Thank you to our tracker, who I don't remember who that was.
I think it's Tim.
I guess it's Tim then.
That's
Thanks.
what I heard last, but I haven't been, of course, watching the stream, so if it changed, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, me neither. And thank you to our Restreamer. And then, of course, thank you to Go Mode Podcast for hosting this. Awesome so far, and I can't wait to do more races.
I'd like to invite the people who are on the other side of the race and couldn't watch the restream to join us for a watch party in chat afterward.
Yeah, definitely give a join our community. It's a really nice community. It's for learning how to play Link to the Past randomizer.
I have been corrected. Minus27. Thank you for tracking.
But yeah, GG's to both of you, and I wish you the best of luck in your future races.
GG to both runners.
So that'll be it for this. That'll be it. Like we mentioned, like MM2 mentioned, definitely give our tracker Minimus27 and YeOldFartGamer, who was our restreamer, a nice hearty follow. follow our runners as well. Definitely also want to follow the other Tom, who was my co-commentator. And of course myself, Professor Render, definitely want to give me a follow as well. I do a couple of things here and there, but other Tom, if you want to get the final say, please do so.
Yeah, that was a really exciting race. Thanks for watching. And hope to see you next time.
Take it easy.